Welcome, Virgo. I'm Anna, and what I'm witnessing in your energy field right now, it's unprecedented. In all my years doing this work, certain patterns emerge that feel extraordinary. Intensity has gradations. Most readings contain moderate energy, predictable ebbs and flows, standard human complexity, but occasionally something emerges that defies those norms. A convergence so rare, so charged, that it demands different language entirely, and you're standing in the center of one of those storms. The magnitude of what's gathering around you is staggering. Prophecy isn't fortune telling. It's pattern recognition at the soul level, seeing trajectories that haven't materialized yet but carry inevitability in their architecture. And your trajectory right now contains elements that suggest monumental transformation approaching at velocities most people never experience. Not small shifts, seismic ones. What I'm tuning into feels like multiple timelines collapsing into singular focus. As though the universe has been orchestrating behind scenes you couldn't see, moving pieces into position, creating conditions for something that requires exact alignment. And that alignment could be nearly complete. Let me be clear about what very strong means in this context. The energy surrounding you doesn't whisper, it roars, contains force that could propel you into entirely different circumstances faster than you can process. Like standing at the base of a wave you didn't see building, suddenly it's towering over you, and you have seconds to decide whether to dive through or get demolished by it. That wave might be cresting now. Hold on, let's sit with this for a moment. Here's what makes this reading different from standard interpretations. Most people carry potential for significant change, but that potential sits dormant or develops gradually. What you're carrying feels activated like a bomb that's been armed, countdown initiated, explosion imminent, but not yet detonated. And explosions reshape landscapes permanently. They don't leave things as they found them. So, whatever's approaching could fundamentally alter your life's terrain, relationships, location, vocation, identity itself. Not tweaking what exists, but obliterating old structures to make room for radically new ones. Are you prepared for that level of disruption? Because preparation might not be optional. What I'm sensing isn't gradual evolution, it's revolutionary change, the kind that arrives suddenly despite being years in the making beneath surface awareness. You might look back months from now and identify this moment as the precipice, the last point of relative normalcy before everything accelerated beyond recognition. And precipices demand respect. You're standing at one now. Might not feel dramatic in this exact moment, might feel like ordinary Tuesday. But energetically, conditions are anything but ordinary. They're extraordinary in ways that typically precede life altering events, the kind people describe as before and after. What area of your life feels most volatile right now is less than #0. 5# is greater than. Let me tell you about the components creating this intensity. First, cosmic alignment. Universal timing operates on scales. Humans rarely perceive consciously, but occasionally celestial mechanics align in configurations that amplify earthly experiences. And you might be caught in one of those alignments where energetic currents that usually remain separate are braiding together, creating concentrated force. That force could be working through you rather than against you, propelling you toward destinations your logical mind hasn't conceived yet. Trust isn't optional here. The current is too strong for swimming against. Your only real choice is whether you flow with some semblance of grace or get dragged fighting. Second, karmic completion. Certain lessons require multiple lifetimes to master. Others concentrate into single pivotal experiences. You might be approaching one of those concentrated learning events where years of accumulated karma compress into weeks or months of intense experience. And karmic acceleration feels overwhelming, like cramming for an exam, except the exam is your entire life trajectory. But passing this particular test could liberate you from patterns that have haunted you across time, break cycles that predate your current incarnation. That's why the intensity feels so profound. The stakes transcend ordinary human drama. Third, destiny activation. Some people live entire lives without activating their soul's primary purpose. They exist comfortably but never touch the thing they came here to do. You're not going to be one of those people. Something is activating, switching on capacities you didn't know you possessed, pulling you toward roles you never auditioned for. And activation can feel terrifying because it demands more than you've given before, requires versions of yourself you haven't met yet, asks you to occupy space you've been trained to avoid. But refusing activation doesn't stop the process, it just makes the transition more painful. Better to cooperate with your own becoming. How would you handle discovering your life's purpose demands everything you've been avoiding? Let's talk about what never saw something like this actually means. I read energy professionally, see thousands of patterns, witness countless human dramas, and most fit recognizable templates, predictable combinations of hope, fear, love, loss. But occasionally something emerges that breaks the mold entirely, a configuration so unique, so potent, that it registers as unprecedented. You're carrying that uniqueness, not in an ego inflating your special way, but in a factual, your current energetic signature is statistically rare way, like stumbling across a genetic mutation or witnessing an eclipse, objectively uncommon occurrences that demand attention precisely because of their scarcity. And scarcity often correlates with significance. What you're about to experience might not have close parallels in your peer group, might be difficult finding people who understand or relate that isolation is part of the prophecy. Extraordinary paths often require solo navigation initially. Here's what I'm also sensing. Multiple areas of your life could transform simultaneously, not sequentially, where One thing shifts, stabilizes, then another begins, but concurrently. Relationships restructuring while career explodes, while health demands attention, while spiritual awakening intensifies. All at once, all demanding response, all refusing to wait their turn. That simultaneity creates overwhelm even in positive transformations. Because human nervous systems aren't designed for constant upheaval across all domains. We need some anchors remaining stable while others shift. But this energy doesn't seem interested in your comfort, it's interested in your evolution. And sometimes evolution requires total immersion in chaos temporarily. Can you surrender to chaos without collapsing? Let me tell you what strong prophecy often precedes: major life relocations, physical moves to different cities or countries that weren't on your radar last month, career complete 180s, abandoning what you've built to pursue something that called you suddenly and insistently, relationships ending or beginning with supernatural speed, health crises that force lifestyle overhauls, spiritual experiences that crack open consensus reality. Any of those could be approaching, multiple could converge. And while that list might sound alarming, remember disruption isn't inherently negative, it's neutral. What determines whether disruption becomes disaster or breakthrough is entirely about how you meet it, with resistance or receptivity, with rigidity or flexibility. Your attitude shapes outcomes here more than the events themselves. What's your relationship with the unknown curiosity or terror? Here's something crucial about prophecies: this intense, they don't guarantee specific outcomes. They indicate high probability trajectories based on current energetic momentum. But momentum can shift. Free will still operates. You're not a passive recipient of predetermined fate. What you are is someone riding an exceptionally powerful current. And that current has direction, force, intention. Working with it amplifies your power exponentially. Fighting it exhausts you while producing minimal deviation from where the current's headed anyway. So the wisdom isn't predicting exactly what happens. It's recognizing the current exists and learning to navigate it skillfully. Let me address the fear this reading might be triggering. Strong energy feels threatening when we're attached to stability. But what if stability has been your prison rather than your sanctuary? What if the life you've been protecting so carefully is actually too small for who you're becoming? Then disruption becomes liberation. The thing you've been fearing is actually the thing you've been unconsciously praying for. Permission to blow up what's not working, justification for radical change you wanted but couldn't authorize yourself, external force matching internal desire, finally. Maybe that's what this is. Not punishment, permission. As I'm closing this reading, I want you to understand something. Being told your energy is unprecedented isn't meant to inflate ego or trigger anxiety. It's meant to prepare you, to help you recognize that standard coping mechanisms might prove inadequate for what's approaching. You'll need different resources, deeper reserves, broader perspectives. Start cultivating those now. Build support systems, Strengthen your spiritual practices. Clear space in your life for the unexpected. Practice flexibility. Release attachment to outcomes. Get comfortable with not knowing. Because what's coming could be glorious, could be exactly what your soul contracted for, could catapult you into alignment you've been seeking for lifetimes. But only if you can stay present through the intensity. Only if you don't fracture under pressure. Only if you trust the process, even when it looks like destruction. Thank you for being here. If this resonated, share in the comments. Are you sensing something massive approaching? How are you preparing? Strong prophecies demand strong people. You wouldn't be receiving this if you weren't capable.